I want today um, speak about a little bit about Hanukkah. Thank you very much. A little bit about Hanukkah and to understand what's the purpose. What's the purpose of the day of these days of Hanukkah? So we all know the purpose is to remember the miracles that Borei Olam did, okay? And that Kadosh Baruch Hu saved us from the Greeks, and we found the small jar of oil, and Chazak Baruch. Rabotai, miracles, okay? We're not, how to say, it's not that we don't have miracles. We have miracles all the time, Baruch Hashem. Throughout history, we had hundreds of miracles. Okay? Hundreds of miracles, and I'm talking even miracles that are above nature. We had hundreds. And whenever Chazal decide to take one of the miracles and to make out of this miracle a certain celebration and holiday, is because there is something behind it. Now, I asked this question in the past. When it comes to mention what's Hanukkah, the Gemara in Masechet, I believe in Masechet Shabbat, that speaks about the halachot of Hanukkah. The Gemara says, "My Hanukkah." I want you to clarify for me what's Hanukkah. And the Gemara, when it comes to clarify, it says very simple. It says, but the time of the Greeks, and they had gezerot against Am Yisrael, and they made tameh the Beit HaMikdash, and the oil, and finally we found the small jar. That's Hanukkah. Now, I want you to imagine for a moment, okay? If you had these two miracles in front of you, and I know that I'm repeating this question because I mentioned it before. You have two miracles in front of you. One miracle is to have a little bit of an oil that happened to be, Baruch Hashem, eaten for 8 days. Fantastic. The other type of miracle is a bunch of rabbis, long beard, skinny, had no clue how to hold up a gun, nothing. Okay, they decided to fight against the US Army. Even if you tell me all Yeshiva Lakewood decide to gather and to fight the US Army, we're going to laugh. But guess what? There was not even the whole Yeshiva of Lakewood. Today, Yeshiva of Lakewood has around 8,000 boys. Okay, there were 13. 12, 13, depends. Okay? Those were the Hashmonaim, the Maccabim. How in the world do you think that a bunch of guys, 13 guys, are going to beat up an empire? And we saw the miracles. And when the Gemara comes to celebrate and to explain to us the miracles of Hanukkah, it doesn't even mention, doesn't even care about what happened with the war. And actually, all the celebration that we do, it's focused on the oil, right? We don't go out with customs of the Hashmonaim. No, we don't. Okay? We just light candles. What's the point? So to explain this, I'm going to go with the Beit Yosef, famous Beit Yosef. The Beit Yosef asked if the miracle of Hanukkah was that one jar of one day, right? It lasted for 8 days. So how many days did you have in the miracle? 7. So says the Beit Yosef, why you celebrate 8? The first day it's not a miracle, it's obvious. So the Beit Yosef brings a whole list of answers. But one of the answers, my dear friend, is connected to what the Ramban writes down as the Akdama of Sefer Shemot. We mentioned the Ramban as well. The Ramban said, the whole purpose why Borei Olam makes big miracles above nature to Am Yisrael is only for one purpose. What is the purpose of the big miracles? What's the purpose? To be able to realize the small miracles. Throughout the big miracles, You understand that Borei Olam managed the world, and therefore, even the small things that you might think that it's not a miracle, it's a miracle as well. And it says the Ramban, a person that doesn't have that understanding, he has no part of the Torah of Am Yisrael. If you don't believe that Borei Olam makes small miracles every single day, you're not part of Am Yisrael. Very tough statement. So here comes the point. The point says like this: Chanukah, we're making the main focus on the Nerot. You know why? The Gemara, there is a famous Gemara about one of the Tanaim that his daughter, by mistake, took some vinegar and she lighted candles. And when she realized that, she went to her father and she says to him, I don't know, by mistake, instead of using oil, I use vinegar. So he says to her, Misha amar la shemen veidlak, yomar la chometz veidlak. The one who said that oil can light fire is the same one that can say to the vinegar that it can light fire. Because really doesn't make any sense. Why oil yes, vinegar no, grape juice no? I mean, why Borei Olam decided that oil yes? The answer is, it's a miracle. Every time that you light a candle, it's a miracle. The problem is that we got used to these type of miracles, so we see it as a natural. Say Chazal, the reason why Borei Olam wanted to focus in the oil of Hanukkah, in the candles of Hanukkah, is to make us understand the same way that one candle of oil cannot light naturally for 8 days and it made it last 8 days, the same way the first candle that you have oil that is able to light a fire, it's also a miracle. And the whole purpose of Hanukkah is to make the connection in between the big miracles and the small ones. And that's why the first day is also a miracle. And I tell you the following. There was a soldier that went now into the war. He went to the Lebanon. He said they entered to one of the houses, and as soon as they entered to one of the houses, he was about to enter to the house with his team. He gets in the radio an information right now. Leave everything and go to the next house. We got more information that in the other house there is much more weapons and things that they found. Okay, leave that house right away. Go to the other house. Rabotai, as soon as he decides to go to the other house, didn't took a couple of seconds until the first house blow up. Hezbollah were watching them from far, and they were sure that they entered. And then they exploded the house. He says there was that second, that minute, that Borei Olam decided to get that call out of no reason to go to the other house. And I tell you a story that I know personally from somebody here. Somebody told me a couple of years ago, he went to Orlando with his family. His wife tells him, do me a favor, go to Winn-Dixie over there in Orlando. Winn-Dixie has a kosher area. Go and buy stuff. Okay, so there's no problem. He takes the baby and he goes to Winn-Dixie. He says that it wasn't Winn-Dixie buying, and he said, I felt that I'm relaxed. I'm gonna go relax, walk, to put up some stuff, to look around. He says his wife calls him up And she says to him, I forgot just to ask you A and B. Also buy this. Classic, yeah? Buy this also. And then he says, okay, no problem. Before he hangs up, his wife says, so the baby's still sleeping? And then I realize the baby's not even here. The baby was left in the car. In the middle of the summer, and the guy leaves everything and he runs like crazy outside. Rabotai, if it was not because of the words that his wife said, Lo Alenu, the story was ending in a different way. Those words were the words that saved the baby's life. Now, Rabotai, to understand this, says the Hafetz Chaim, the same way that Borei Olam managed nature, Borei Olam managed words. You know this? Borei Olam managed the words that a person takes out from his mouth. You don't control which words you're saying. There's only words in between good and bad that you control, in between Lashon Hara, Divrei Torah, curses, etc. But the rest of the words, you don't choose. You go to a meeting and you say, by mistake, I said this word, and then, why did I say this? Now he understands a whole thing. It's not you. It was meant to be. Whenever we understand that those tiny miracles, even the way of speaking, it's a miracle. You understand that? Then you're connected with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Then you understand that there is absolutely nothing that it's not under his control. So I finish with this. The Pelei Yoetz brings down that the mitzvah of emunah, it's called mitzvah temidit. Mitzvah temidit means it's a constant mitzvah that you can fulfill always. It says the Pelei Yoetz, and I think he brought this or a different Safra that I saw. He says, when a person comes to Shema Israel, you say Shema Israel how many times a day? 4. Why 4? You have Korbanot, then you have Shacharit, you have Arvit, and you have Kriyat Shema Alamita. 4 times. Okay. When it comes to Kriyat Shema, he writes, at least do it once a day. When you get to the first pasuk of Kriyat Shema, Ve'ahavta et Hashem Elokecha, once a day, had the following thought. Ve'ahavta et Hashem Elokecha. I have to love Borei Olam. How am I going to love Borei Olam? It says, you stop for a moment and you think the great power that Borei Olam has, how the world is huge, how the galaxy is humongous, how small we are, and how big is HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and all what happened in the world, from nature, from animals, the whales, the fish, the birds, everything is controlled by HaKadosh Baruch Hu. When you understand the greatness of Borei Olam, and how small you are, and how much Borei Olam takes care of you, you get to fill up with love to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and you appreciate every single second that you have in life. He says, that's the mitzvah aseh of Ve'ahavta et Hashem Elokecha. Once a day. Whenever you get to that pasuk, have that in mind. And whenever we understand that message, we bring Borei Olam to our life, then Borei Olam can take us and can bring us closer to Him and give us even more miracles. Baruch Adonai Le'olam. Amen ve'amen. Rabbi Abraham Azancot, Kadosh Baruch Hu